Hey guys, this is going to be a very different video than what I normally do. Normally my videos are under 2 minutes and it's just telling people about the gospel. And I will leave the gospel down in the description box, but this is going to be a different kind of video. I'm going to share an experience that I had a couple of days ago. I've waited a couple of days because, see, my heart's already pounding. I thought I can maybe get through this without crying. Disclaimer, if it upsets you that people cry in videos, this may not be for you because I may not be able to get through it. I do want to thank that special person that encouraged me to make this video. Know that I love you, I appreciate you, and I never take your encouragement for granted. So I'm going to preface it with this, and it's Hebrews 13:2. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unaware. I did make notes because I get a little shaky when I even start to think about it. So I had gone to the lake to pray, and I had sat on this long bench that sits in front of the lake just to kind of have some time with God. And there's this one little squirrel that's named Jojo. He has a broken tail. I love to feed him. He is my absolute favorite. I really wasn't praying as much as I was just kind of ranting to God. I'm normally, as most of you know, I'm pretty happy-go-lucky, but things have been kind of tough lately, and I was just at that point where I'd had enough. And at the end of my rant, I had told God that sometimes I feel like you're not even there. And I was at the end of my rope that day. And I was feeding Jojo and kind of looking off to the side, and all of a sudden I heard, "Good afternoon." And I looked up, and there was this gentleman there. He looked to be in his late 60s. He had piercing blue eyes. The thing that caught my eyes the most was that the whites around his eyes looked that of more of an 18-year-old than a late 60s. He was just a very kind gentleman, and I said hello. I asked him how his day was going. You know, I smiled at him, and he asked if he could join me. And I said, well, yes, please do. And he sat down on the bench. I was on the left side of the bench near the tree feeding the squirrels. He sat on the right side, and I put the bag of nuts between us. And he grabbed a few nuts and he tossed them over to the right side, and little Jojo goes running over and starts eating the nuts and everything. And we're just talking about the weather. Let me decline that. We were just talking about the weather, and we were talking about Jojo. And then he just said, I'll try not to cry. He just said, he really does love you, you know. Here we go. And I said, who? And he said, Jesus. He really does love you. And I said, yes, he does. He loves you too. And he looked at me and he kind of chuckled and he said, yes, he does. And the way he said it was like, you have no idea. He locked eyes with me for 3 seconds, and it wasn't an uncomfortable lock. It was just a deep looking inside of me lock. And after about 3 seconds, he looked up over my left shoulder, still smiling, and it looked as though he was looking at someone behind me. And I turned really quickly just to see who it was, and no one was there. When I turned back around, the man was gone. I sat there stunned for quite a while, and I started to think, am I imagining this? But I looked to the right side of the bench, and the nuts were still there, and Jojo was still eating the nuts. And it was just such an encouragement at that very moment in time. It's exactly what I needed to hear. And I've learned that, yes, there are angels among us, and yes, he will intervene and come and see us when we absolutely need him the most. And I do pray that this video encourages you. Know that I love you, but more importantly, from the words of that man himself, Jesus really does love you. God bless and have a wonderful rest of your day.